Are we living in a simulation right now? Back-to-back weeks with what I feel like was almost an identical Cash Cup finals, especially on NA that we saw last week. And surprise, surprise, who else besides Peterbot and Pollo ended up winning the whole thing? We also had a super entertaining EU Cash Cup that if you just take a look at the leaderboard on Fortnite Tracker, you might be a little bit confused. So stay tuned and I'll explain everything that happened on later on in this video. Real quick before this video starts though, please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as I think we are literally less than 100 subs away from 116,000 subscribers. We upload daily competitive content around here, so make sure you guys turn on notifications so you don't miss anything that happens in the comp scene. If you guys want to support me even more though, far and away the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. Make sure you guys follow me on my Twitch or come back here on the day of finals if you guys want to watch these duo set lobby finals with me. I appreciate every single person that was out there in the stream today. Let's start this off though on NA, of course, with the duo that won the whole thing. In first place, it is Peter and Pollo on 447 points. They won 1 out of their 6 matches, and of course, as you could probably guess, they finished with the most elims between either NA or EU, getting 50 total elims, and were the 4th most consistent team of the day, getting an average placement of 7.5. Their match history was a 4 elimination 6th, 8 elimination 4th, 12 elimination 7th, 3 elimination 24th, 13 elimination win, and a 10 elimination 3rd. Now don't let this leaderboard deceive you, because this was in no way, shape, or form as dominant as a performance as it might look on paper right here. Going into game number 5, Peterbot and Pollo were in 6th place with almost a 60-point gap between them in first place. I was almost completely ready to title this video like Peterbot and Pollo have been stopped, and then like we just went over in the match history, in classic Peterbot fashion, they win the game when they need it the most with a 13 elim win, literally their only win of the day. And then going into the final game, I'm pretty sure they were in 2nd place to Agers and Yamzo, and I was getting deja vu from last week, because last week going into the final game, Peter and Pollo were also in 2nd place to Rapid in Threats, and then we saw some pretty similar stuff happen where Agers and Yamzo were kind of running around the map trying to avoid Peter and Pollo. Rapid and Threats though were also in 3rd place, just a couple points behind them as well. All 3 of those duos really did have real win potential in this Cash Cup, but when it came down to it in the clutch scenarios, you just can't bet against Peterbot and Pollo, and they were able to clutch up the Cash Cup win, winning back-to-back duo Cash Cup finals now. And hey, if we want to go back even farther, they've technically won the last 3 duo finals, from globals to both of these Cash Cups now too. I still didn't love Peterbot's IGLing in the first couple of the games that they had. I think especially though there still being no crash pads in the game somehow is really affecting this duo. When zones pull max, it is just so hard and nearly impossible to be consistent in a meta like this. But Peter and Pollo's pure fighting ability is often what carries them through it, and we saw that time and time again, whether it was just a Peterbot solo clutch, them being able to get refreshes together with the minigun. I loved how they played with the minigun. The best game of the day that they had, the only game that they ended up winning was the one game that Pollo carried the minigun. I do want to see more of that incorporated into their game plan in the future. It seems like the vibes are still just absolutely amazing between these two as well.
Bro, you know what I just realized? They never added the cake to our POI.
You just realized that.
Bro, what?
Every other POI has a cake, and we don't.
All the Pollo haters saying like, oh, Peter should be dropping Pollo for a cold, and Peter's too good to be playing with Pollo now. This is back-to-back weeks that I still don't even feel like they're playing to their max potential, and they still won both of the Cash Cups. This duo is just looking so scary, man. And for all the rumors that went around of people that could potentially contest Peterbot and Pollo off spawn, none of that ended up happening once again. They got the Hive completely uncontested for 6 out of 6 games in this finals, and they have now been uncon for 12 out of 12 games so far in the Div Cup Cash Cup finals lobbies. Another big reason why Peter decided to play with Pollo, just because of how good both of their off spawn reps are together. 2nd place though, somehow pulling off back-to-back 2nd places in the Cash Cup. I feel like this was a really quiet tournament from Acorn and Bolt, but they still finished with 396 points, so they outplaced 3rd place by 1 singular point. We're not able to win any games today, but did also still finish with 32 total elims, which was the 4th most elims in this tournament. Now, the reason why they are always going to be so high up on these leaderboards, and I'm also pretty sure that this was Acorn's first tournament on 0 ping so far this season, it is because of their consistency. They were the most consistent team in this entire tournament, getting an average placement of 5.1. And like I just said, being consistent in a tournament that has a no crash pad meta is just absolutely so impressive from them. They got a 2 elimination 7th, 6 elimination 3rd, 4 elimination 8th, 13 elimination 4th, 7 elimination 3rd, and a 4 elimination 2nd in the very final game to jump them up from 4th to 2nd place. They do just continue to look so good, and I really am pretty confident to say that they are currently the second best team on all of NA. 3rd place though is probably the team that I was happiest with watching their performance today. It is Adriz and Yamzo on 395. So like I said, only 1 point behind Acorn and Bolts. They did win 1 out of these 6 matches today and get 34 total elims, which did put them in exactly 3rd place for the most elims in this tournament. If you guys watched my video yesterday, you know that was one of the key points to watch for this tournament was, can Adriz and Yamzo finish with the top 3 most elims after being the duo to finish with the least elims in the entire top 10 last week? I think we all just should know though that these 2 players individually are too good to not be that fraggy. And today they were able to get a 5 elimination 8th, 12 elimination win, 6 elimination 5th, 5 elimination 6th, 5 elimination 5th, and a 1 elimination 11th. They do still unfortunately have to be a little bit disappointed though, because they were in 1st place going into the final game of the day, and they still ended up losing this cash cup by almost 50 points. This was probably one of the main duos that was on potential split watch if they had another bad tournament. And even though I don't think they're satisfied with this placement, this is definitely a step in the right direction for them. 4th place continues to be another just one of the best duos on all of NA. They're probably the 3rd or 4th best duo on all of NA when we think about it, of Rapid and Threats. They finished on 387 points, won 1 out of their 6 matches, and got the 2nd most elims in this tournament with 37 total elims. They were the only duo besides Peter and Pollo to have multiple games getting double-digit elim games. They got a 14 elim win and a 12 elim 2nd. Continue to just look so good. 5th place was Noxy and Mason, super underrated duo. 6th place was Ritual and Cold, finishing on 275 points. They won 1 out of their 6 matches and got 29 total elims as well. This duo was contested for 3 games off spawn versus Epic Whale and Pump. And last week we know a lot of bad things happened to them. They even ended up getting 1v2'd by Epic Whale, but this week it was a completely different story. They 3-0'd them off spawn, and then Epic Whale and Pump realized that they were doing so bad that they literally just left the NA Central Cash Cup to go and play West. It's a little concerning that in the 3 games that they were fully unconned, they got a 7 elim 7th, 1 elim 21st, and a 0 elim 21st, compared to the games that they were conned where they got a 13 elim win, 6 elim 8th, and a 2 elim 31st. This duo does definitely still need to work on their consistency, but they've probably just been practicing for off spawn since they know that they have been contested. And I kind of hope that Epic Whale and Pump leave the drop spot, because I really want to see a full tournament of Ritual and Cold being fully uncontested, because I think they really will be able to show why they're potentially one of the best duos on all of NA. But 6th place is still really solid considering that they were contested. 7th place though is Clix and Higgs. Back-to-back 7th places in the Cash Cup finals for Clix and Higgs. They finished with 257 points, won 1 out of these 6 matches, and got 20 total elims on the day. Their match history from being fully uncontested once again was a 1 elim 10th, 1 elim 37th, 0 elim 19th, 11 elim win, 0 elim 15th, and a 7 elim 5th. I mean, once again, like, they didn't really have any crazy performances besides 2 games today. They only even got over 1 elim 2 separate times. Clix doesn't necessarily seem too worried about it though. This is what he had to say after the Cash Cup.
Guys, listen. I know back to my 7 suck, but we're getting our momentum. We're learning it, bro. On God, Higgs is Higgs is disgusting. Like, it's his first time IGL in first 2 games. And to be honest, like, it's my first 2 games, like, trying to help him IGL. So, like, bro, like, he's learning. Brand new duo. Like, we didn't play good. Nonetheless, we definitely we should have played better. We're definitely a better duo. You guys seen it. Y'all seen it the first week too. Like, we definitely are a better duo than what we're placing right now. But I'm gonna go about with them and figure out our mistakes.
So for everybody that's saying like, oh, Clix and Higgs are gonna split, it doesn't seem like from Clix's point of view right now. He said himself that Higgs is still learning how to IGL in set lobby finals. They show flashes of being a good team. This is now back-to-back weeks where they've won a finals game, but their elims are still just very inconsistent, and even their placements as well. So do I personally think that they're gonna split after this? No, I think they will still be playing together next week. The vibes didn't necessarily seem that terrible, and I think a lot of it was saved by that 11 elim win that they got. Next week though, if they do struggle and they finish in like 8th or 9th place, there might be some more conversations to be had about them potentially splitting, just because they have way too good of a POI with getting Surge every single game from Surge trading to not place top 5 in a single one of these finals so far this season. 8th place was Muzz and Re on 248. 9th place was Ark and Kanata on 238. Kanata said that there is a chance that Ark could potentially be on 0 ping as early as next week. And if that is the case, I think they instantly become a top 5 contender. There really is just so many good duos, especially on NA right now. And the competition is just going to get more fierce with Ark being on 0 ping. And then rounding out the top 10 was Oliver OG and Carillion on 209. For how some of our other big names did today, we have like 11th place of Cooper and Sphinx on 170, Curve and Craze in 13th, G-Money and Rise in 15th, Josh and Chance in 21st, Shadow and Tyler in 22nd, and then like Victor V and Paper in 44th. What are my overall thoughts on most of these duos performances today? I think there kind of is just already becoming a gap between like the top 5 or even top 7 duos on the region compared to everybody else. And I know like Cooper and Sphinx and even like Reet and Muzz have only played 1 tournament so far, so I want to see more out of them before I start to give some of my real opinions on their duos. But I think we already are starting to really carve out who are those top 6 or 7 duos on the region. Unfortunately, the total stats are bugged, so we can only see the individual stats from these players. But of course, I mean, you could probably guess the person that dominated every single category was Peterbot, finishing with 32 total elims, 8,700 damage, a 2.01 damage ratio. Peter literally finished with more elims in this tournament as a solo than 47 other duos did. Also got to give credit to Pollo though, finishing with 18 total elims, 46 assists, 5,600 damage, a 1.2 damage ratio. Still continues to just play his role so well. Here's also Acorn and Bolt's stats if you're curious about it. 23 elims for Bolt, 9 elims for Acorn. Also a 2.4 damage ratio for Bolt though, so higher damage ratio than Peter had. And then here is the final team that was inside of the top 3 for today, Agers and Yamzo. Yamzo as the IGL actually finished with more elims than Agers, getting 20 compared to 14. Agers did have double his assist though with 46, and he had more damage than him and a better damage ratio. So to me so far, what I do think are the top 3 teams on the region, they are all looking super good. Let's actually move on to how EU went now though. Now in EU, they really did it, man. Chap and Flixie win week 2 of the EU Div Cup finals. This duo finished with 372 points. They didn't win any games today, but as you guys could probably have guessed, they finished with the most elims, getting 38 total elims, and they were also the most consistent team of the day, getting an average placement of 9.67. Now this tournament was a little bit weird because it actually ended up getting extended because around 20 people didn't load into the first game, so game number 1 got completely canceled from this tournament. And so Chap and Flixie's match histories in the games that counted today was a 5 elimination 3rd, 1 elimination 31st, 9 elimination 6th, 4 elimination 7th, 16 elimination 2nd, which if you guys are curious, yes, was the highest elim win of the day, and then a 3 elimination 9th in the very final game. Going into the last game, they only had about a 15-point lead on the duo in 2nd place of Vino and Chino. Everybody was asking the questions, is Vino gonna pull a Peterbot and land on Chap and Flixie? They decided not to. Vino and Chino decided to just play out the game, landing at their normal POI, and unfortunately for them, they were not able to outperform Chap and Flixie in the very final game. Leading up to this finals, the whole thing that I was saying about this duo right here is, can they show why they have the potential to be one of the best duos on all of EU and even one of the best potential duos in the entire world? And I really do believe that they did just that today, finishing with the most elims, being the most consistent team. Both Chap and Flixie look absolutely primed up right now. It's not even like one of them is playing so much better than the other. They are both just equally playing out of their minds, and I would have to basically assume that this duo is going to be sticking together now for the future, even though there was a lot of rumors about people making up these like hypothetical potential duos that both these guys could play with. Like I said earlier though, the duo that finished in 2nd place was Chino and Vino on 358. They did win 2 out of the 6 total matches today and get the 2nd most elims in this tournament with 36 total elims. But unfortunately for them, you could see a little bit of that chemistry chemistry not fully being there yet. They did have a couple of games where they just weren't consistent enough to bring home the win. They got a 9 elimination win in game number 1, a 6 elimination 4th, a game that Vino actually solo clutched from around first moving, a 2 elimination 20th, 10 elimination win, 2 elimination 28th, and a 7 elim 14th. If we're going to be comparing Chino's new duo of Vino, we also have to compare to how him and Ferdoxy ended up doing last week. So last week, Ferdoxy and Chino won the Cash Cup with 312 points, didn't win any games, got 34 total elims, and had an average placement of 13.7. So technically, Chino and Vino outperformed everything that Chino and Ferdoxy did last week. They even ended up getting about 50 more points. They just weren't able to win because of how good of a performance that Chap and Flixie put on. Chino does still have the title though of being the most consistent duos player on all of EU up until this point, getting second and first place in the Div Cup finals. And I'm excited to see these two teams go back and forth for hopefully a long time now. Third place though was the duo that I actually predicted to win the whole thing. Unfortunately, they were not able to do that, but it is Swizzy and Vanya on 297 points. They won the very final game of the day and finished with the third most elims, getting 28 total elims. Now, Swizzy and Vanya ended up top 3ing this Cash Cup while only having 2 games where they placed inside of the top 10, getting a 7 elimination 4th and a 12 elimination win. Am I like worried after watching these guys play 2 set lobby finals now? No, last week they were literally contested every single game, so they have a valid excuse for that. This week they top 3'd and finished with the third most elims in the entire finals as well. And I know a lot of people like to say that Vanya is not the best fighter in general either, and so them still finishing top 3 in elims goes to show that they can keep up. And if you're telling me that the only problem Swizzy and Vanya really have right now is their consistency, I would have to say that they're going to be able to clean that up in the future, and I think they can only improve from here. So a third place is still a super good placement out of them. Fourth place was Fastroki and Bevies on 273. Fifth place was Yanis and Rax on 252. So 2 back-to-back pretty underrated duos finishing inside of the top 5. I didn't really see anybody predicting either of these teams in their top 5s either. Yanis looks like he's making a real comeback now in duos after pretty much struggling the entire year in trios. Sixth place was another one of our brand new duos of Seti and Demas on 242. 7th place, another brand new duo of Blah and Darm on 232. 8th place was Nebs and Mappy. 9th place was Hellfire. And then rounding out the top 10 was Cheatin' and Trexer on 206. Of course, you know, we gotta talk about some of the off-spawn drama. We have Ferdoxy finishing in 11th place. Ferdoxy ended up tweeting out the only points that the team that was contesting them got was in the game that didn't count. And he also tweeted out that they ended up winning 5-1 off spawn. A lot of the games that Yarko and Kiri ended up running away from the spawn fight, and Ferdoxy was just full hunting them down. So you could maybe say that the score is closer to 3-2. That was what Yarko was trying to argue in the comments. Off spawn fights that don't just get fully 50-50 for every game is so hard to determine who was the real winner there. We also had Malibuka and Panzer in 13th place on 179. They really unfortunately only had like 2 good games today, getting an 8 elimination 10th and a 4 elimination win. I still do want to see more consistency out of this duo right here, because I definitely do believe that they have the talent and skill to be a top 10 duo on the region. They just haven't been able to show that yet. Pix and Yapko finished in 14th. Hari and Cammy in 18th. They were also contested off spawn though. Sky and Marius in 20th, another duo that was contested. This duo finals honestly was a lot more stacked than the one that we had last week, because we still also had other big names like 25th place of Vidil and Rezon on 108. They started off this tournament really hot, but then they just slowly cooled off throughout the rest of it. I still do think this is a very underrated duo, and they showed why they still have top 5 potential. They just weren't really able to put anything together today. 28th place was Trulex and Chicho. Tayson and Upple finished in 37th. I would have to assume that Tayson and Upple here are not going to be sticking together for the future, and Tayson should be going back to Merstash now, hopefully if his PC issues are fixed. And then that was about it for all of our big names today. Taking a look at the final zones for EU today, what in the world, holy South zones we had today. This just makes the win for Chap and Flixie even more impressive, because they legit only got 1 zone that didn't pull completely across the map. And then moving on to the final statistics here now, unfortunately since the first game bugged pretty much the entirety of the leaderboards, we have to just go off of Kinch's tweet, but the most damage was Rax with 7,133 and a 1.48 damage ratio. Second place was Swizzy TNT, third place was Fastroki, and then the stat leaders was of course Rax with the most damage. Vino finished with the most elims, getting 25 total elims. The most assists was tied between Chap and Demus with 32. The highest damage ratio was Pablo with a 2.06, and then damage per minute was led by Sato. Hey, Vino told us before duos officially started that by the end of next year, he is going to be regarded as the best player in the game. And I really did like what we got to see out of him being in that more fragging IGL type of role, similar to what we saw him playing with like Clix. You can just tell he is a lot more free as a player now. And whether or not Chino and him end up sticking, which I think they will, I really do believe that Vino needs to stay in this role for the entirety of 2026, because you can clearly tell that he's one, not just better in this role, but two, just way more comfortable. Other than that though, remember, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We had a lot to go over in today's video, so I appreciate everybody that stopped by till the very end. Comment down below, we love Fortnite. If you made it to this point of the video, I want to see how many of you guys are able to make it to the end. Please use code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop if you guys want to support me even more. Appreciate all you boys that also stopped by the streams today. YouTube says enjoy one of these two videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.